A quick look at the forecast as we start off the show. I'm Belen de Leon. That snow has all but come to an end around the metro area and for most of the Front Range. But our snow totals ranged anywhere from 2 to about 7 inches from the foothills all the way out towards the eastern plains. Now we're stuck with the clouds and the temperatures are in the 30s. They're going to linger in the 30s a bit longer through about 8 p.m. We're going to hang on to the cloud coverage. Now currently we have some snow falling in southern Colorado and winter weather advisories that remain in effect until 11 p.m. But watch what happens overnight and through tomorrow morning. Our skies clear out along I-70 and in northern Colorado. We will have some areas of fog developing that could be affecting your morning drive tomorrow. Tonight, skies clear. 21 will be your overnight low. Thankfully, we'll have some lighter winds. You know, our snowfall so far for the month of January at 6.3. But when we look at the snowfall for the season, we are behind. 27.4 inches is where we should be to date, and currently we're running at 17.7. We'll have more snow though. By the end of the week, we're tracking another storm. Before that, it's going to feel like spring around here. Tomorrow starts to warm up, a high of 48 degrees, then 60s in the forecast for Wednesday and Thursday.
Belen, thanks. Marking 5 years at 9 News Today. They came carrying Martin Luther King Jr.'s words in their hearts, in their minds, and on the signs that they carried. Denver's annual Marade, March/Parade, went from City Park to Civic Center Park. Now, usually this is where we hear from some politician making a speech, but this year, for a moment, let us look instead of listen. And let's let the people, not the politicos, do the talking today. Sign seen at today's Marade. Americans are split about 50-50 on Obamacare. That's according to the latest Kaiser Health tracking poll. Colorado's Senate delegation is split exactly 50-50 on Obamacare. That is according to me because there's two of them and I spoke to both of them recently. First, Republican Senator Cory Gardner, who would not commit to having an Affordable Care Act replacement that covers everyone who currently has insurance.
Can you assure Coloradans that you guys are going to be able to pull the boat close enough to the dock that people can step from one to the other and that there are not going to be significant numbers of people left without coverage if they currently have it?
You know, what we're trying to do is make sure that we fix the mess that Obamacare created. In Colorado, hundreds of thousands had their insurance canceled despite the promise that they'd get to keep the plans that they liked. And so if you heard Mike Enzi on the floor of the Senate when the first step to repeal and replace Obamacare was taken, he talked about building a transition to make sure that people who are currently enrolled are taken care of while we build a replacement plan that we can move to that's better than Obamacare.
Democratic Senator Michael Bennet would appear to be in the third stage of grief over the likely death of the ACA because he has now turned to bargaining. Now in Washington, some would call that bipartisanship, but listen to what Bennet told me when I asked what he would say to Senator Gardner.
If I had 10 seconds with him, I hope that he will take a look at the good things that have occurred as part of the law, and I would tell him that I would be very willing to work with him on the things that haven't worked as well to try to improve the law.
Pressure on elected officials to repeal or to keep the ACA is about to get turned up to 11. Last Friday, Next, along with Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd, debunked a recent campaign to paint Senator Gardner as the face of the repeal effort, just because he happened to be the one presiding over the Senate as it was discussed.
There he goes.
Republican Congressman Mike Kaufman's feeling the heat. This is video of him leaving the kitchen, otherwise known as an event to meet constituents at a library in Aurora on Saturday. There, Kaufman was met by an overflow crowd of people chanting liberal protest slogans. Depending on who you believe, these were either concerned citizens who got together spontaneously and just happened to have the same point of view and affinity for slogan chanting, or Kaufman's event was overrun by activists who oppose his politics. Kaufman believes the latter, issuing a statement calling the scene unfortunate. He wrote, "Activists angry about the election results and angry about the impending repeal of Obamacare came with the goal of making a show. That's their right. But my resolve isn't the least bit shaken by these antics. The American people want Obamacare repealed and replaced." It is one race where starting early does not always give you an advantage. But former State Senator Mike Johnson is the first big-name Colorado Democrat to announce that he will run for governor. He's likely to face a crowded primary that could include former Senator Ken Salazar and Congressman Ed Perlmutter. Johnson's life's work has been education and community renewal, and he will be our guest here on Next tomorrow night. Some folks will tell you that we need to build a high-speed train along I-70, fix the traffic problems. Those folks need to watch our segment called Is the A-Line Working Today? But hey, it's working. Victory for the train to the plains. So maybe we should get planning that mountain train corridor after all. And a friendly heads up, RTD route changes went into effect yesterday, or route if you prefer, so your ride may run a few minutes earlier or later than usual. So don't be hashtag hey next to us that RTD messed up your route or route if you didn't check the new schedule. You are shoveling snow wrong. It probably is not you, but it is likely someone else on your block. We're not going to subject you to the same old tired TV news tips on shoveling snow. That is not the problem here. The problem is where you stick it. Here's photojournalist Ann Herbst.
Am I breathing hard?
There are a bunch of ways to stay safe while shoveling the sidewalk.
Knees bent, kind of lean into it.
Devin's a pro and knows them all.
No, just don't want to hurt myself.
Besides having the how-to shovel part down, Devin also knows where all this snow should go.
Well, I know I can't throw it in the street. I would prefer if no one would throw it in front of my house, or, you still have to walk over it.
Devin doesn't want to deal with that. And neither does Denver. The city says the snow you might be tempted to push into the roads can end up as a traffic hazard. It can also block street drains. Devin's years of shoveling experience,
I'm pushing 50. I've been doing it since I was a kid.
Gives him that institutional knowledge. But to Luca down the street,
I'm 12.
It all just makes sense.
I think they wouldn't want the snow in the street because the snow in the street can get in the way of other cars that are driving.
Full disclaimer, Luca's getting paid to do this the right way.
And that's what he would give me, $5. And his, eternal respect.
$5 or not, if a 12-year-old can keep it on his lawn, so can you. For Next, this is Ann Herbst.
So it's not like shoveling your walk is going to get you a ticket if you toss the snow in the street, as it is if you just leave the sidewalk covered. But CDOT is asking all of us, especially those of us with driveways off busy streets, to please remember their plea and just be better humans. So there is fake news, and then there is just plain cruel fake news. Do not toy with people's love for In-N-Out burgers. A fake tweet this morning got heavily circulated, and mouths were watering across Colorado. Mouths that were forced to be fed with some other chain's burgers. In-N-Out does not have announced plans to come to Colorado. Fake news, man. It's the worst. Bet these kids just think it's a day off. Bet they don't even know about Martin Luther King Jr. Well, get your bets in now, because we're about to find out. History is made in the heart of Colorado when this woman did something even she never expected. And a sign that there may be an open seat on the Broncos bandwagon, which is usually filled to capacity. Next. It's easy to write off kids who are out having fun today as students who don't appreciate history as much as a day off from school. But stop and listen, and you might learn that they have learned quite a bit about the meaning of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Photojournalist Tom Cole pulled over near 104th and 36 in Westminster and carried his camera up a sledding hill.
I have a dream.
He was a great man.
Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin. But
this day, he deserves it for everything he's done.
Don't judge people by their color of their skin.
From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Most people can't even do it because they're afraid, but he wasn't. He actually stood up for himself.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado.
He fought for civil rights for black people.
When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city.
Martin Luther King was an amazing man. He stood for good reasons, good values.
There was black people and white people who had to go to different schools, and he made the rights to they could join.
Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
The work of Tom Cole there. So perhaps you noticed, as I did, that particular hill is not the most diverse in our community. In our view, all the more reason to be encouraged, as so many we encountered were appreciative of Dr. King and his legacy. Gunnison County has a new judge. That alone is not really news here, but that county's new judge has another distinction. Ashley Burgermeister is the first woman seated on the bench in Gunnison County. She went to CU Law School and moved to Gunnison 7 years ago with her husband. She was sworn in last Tuesday. She's gotten a couple of calls of congratulations, including one from our office.
I would have never guessed. If you would have told me I would have been a judge, period, I would have laughed, let alone serving as the county court judge this quickly. Perhaps my parents taught me that there weren't glass ceilings, and maybe going to an all-girls high school taught me that as well. It was bound to happen in Gunnison. It could have been someone else, but I'm pretty honored that it's me.
Ashley turned 33 on Friday. She has a 7-month-old son at home, so she's pretty busy. And she says her husband's support has really helped her succeed. It's a sign. It is a sad sign that the Broncos have lost a bit of their shine in the eyes of some, just a year after bringing home the shiniest trophy in all of sports. Gone are the lines of people waiting for Broncos gear. No, the Broncos merchandise, at least in one place, has been moved to the back, next to the Christmas candy. 70% off Broncos gear, hats, shirts, and such. Get on the bandwagon now if you have been looking for an opening. The most Colorado thing we saw today is what happens when you pair small children with moderate-sized sheep. This is not new, but it never gets old to watch mutton busting at the National Western Stock Show. Cute kids and chaps trying to hold on to the back of a sheep for dear life. That kid actually got a replacement sheep. Don't worry, the sheep was not cooperating, refused to run. The child got a secondary sheep. The most Colorado thing we saw today. Next, we revisit a remarkable woman who marched with Dr. King as a teenager and believes it is never too early to learn to do what's right. Then, Steve Steger and Dr. Max are A, doing performance art, B, exercising when they should be working, or C, exploring the odd connection between pain and sad movies.
All right, Dr. Max, you and I have a bit of a habit of talking about really awkward things in a room full of our coworkers, so let's keep it up.
Yeah, strange science, right?
So this is strange science, and it has to do with watching sad movies. We're too cheap to get a sad movie, so we just found this really sad image online and pretend that we're watching this movie. So watching sad movies actually can help you down the road.
Yeah, there's new interesting research on this, and what this particular study has shown is that not only does watching a sad movie temporarily increase your ability to withstand pain, but it also helps you to bond with other people, and believe it or not, those two things are related.
So you and I are watching this sad image of a box man. That's
we are,
really sad.
It is very sad, isn't it?
And so we're bonding together. How is that happening?
Well, if we walk over to the wall, I can show you that a little bit better.
And this has something to do with pain threshold.
Exactly.
Yes? All right, so this is the melancholy wall here at 9 News.
It is. Are you feeling sad?
I am feeling slightly sad.
I'm feeling more humiliation right now because
I'm about to. What are we doing?
All right, we are going to do wall sits right now. This study had people watch sad movies in a group, and then they had them do wall sits. The theory is that when you're very sad and when you start crying, endorphins get released into your system, and it increases your pain threshold, which means that you can do the wall sit 90 degrees. Okay. So we should be able to do this for a very, very long time because we are so sad
from watching that sad movie.
That's right. Now how it's related to bonding with other people is that those endorphins, it causes an increase in pain threshold. It also causes an increase in kind of good emotional feelings, which then causes us to bond. Like
we're kind of bonding here. Right
I know.
Now.
I feel a special bond with you.
I'm trying so hard.
Is it starting to hurt you?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually better. When you stretch them out a little bit.
Uh-huh.
All right, Dr. Max Wachtel, thank you for the pain.
You're welcome.
May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something that didn't come from 9 News or Next, but is really worth checking out. WhatWasThere.com is paradise for us history geeks, and your email tells us that there are a bunch of us who gather here each night. WhatWasThere.com lets you zoom in on any intersection in the metro area and then look around at what was there in years past. Snapshots from the 1920s, the 50s, up through the 90s. Perhaps you want to go and see a historical building back in its heyday, or see what was on that corner before that god-awful modern disaster was built. It is a wonderful waste of time. I encourage you to get lost on that site tonight. There's a link on the 9 News or on the Next Facebook page. So without question, the most popular person that Next has introduced you to over the last couple of weeks is Mickey, the slackliner who used his mad rope skills to rescue a man hanging from a ski lift. Well, Mickey's big time now. About 1 million of you watched his story with our team, and now Mickey is headed for the Ellen Show. Mickey, along with Richard, the guy he saved, will be on the show tomorrow afternoon. If you want to check out Mickey's interview with us, it's on the Next YouTube channel, where you can see past episodes as well. We are back with the story of a woman who marched with Dr. King as a teenager and now shares her story with students in our area. We want to revisit a story that many of you said moved you. Linda Blackman was the youngest person in Dr. King's march from Selma when she was just 14. She now shares her story to teach kids, like those at Stanley British Primary School in Denver, that just because they're young does not mean they're powerless.
I left Selma at 14 years old, and by the end of the four-day, 5-night march, I was at the ripe old age of 15. I turned 15 on the road to freedom on March 22nd. The day was frightening. It was terrifying because we had never met violence. I heard this pop, pop, pop. Then this gas was just all around us, and you couldn't breathe and you couldn't see. And I ran into this cloud of tear gas, and this man is running behind me, beating me. I did pass out, because when I woke up, I was on a stretcher, and they were about to put me in the back of a hearse. We didn't have ambulances then for black people. I told them I wasn't dead and I wasn't getting in that hearse before my time. It took me a while to just really start talking about it. Talking about it to me is a real cleansing of my spirit. I just hope that I inspired them in some way to stand for something someday.
John Westcott writes in, bless Linda Blackman for what she did and is doing now. Adam Greener didn't like that in the story about the protest at Congressman Mike Kaufman's meeting that we referred to liberal protest slogans. Said politically neutral journalists don't say things like that, Kyle, unless you're on Fox. I think it's important, Adam, for you to know whether the protesters were coming at the congressman for the left or the right. This time it was the left. Jason Morrison writes, hey, Kyle Clark, what are you typing on the computer during commercial breaks? I don't know, Jason, just freshening up the resume, you know, stuff that people do. See you next time.